Hello everyone, this is Emily Kaler, and I am going to talk to you today about how to complete an IRIP using the process called mail merge. Basically what it does is you're inputting all of your data into an Excel file, or most of your data into an Excel file, and then you open up a Word document or the template, and you're able to merge all of those files and create an individual IRIP for each student. So definitely will ease the process of completing IRIPs, as well as provide you some specific scaffolds to support you in that process of informing instruction. So today I'm going to walk you through that process. It won't be exactly the same location of the documents as your homeschool, but at least you can see the process. So it will not be housed on Google Drive anymore. It will be housed in your network drive. On my network drive, you can see my screen here. I have kind of some sample folders here that I will share with you. I think I just clicked too many times. Basically, I will be showing you an example of a first grade, but yours will be in a different location. So in your first grade folder, there will be, I'll use first grade as an example, but there will be a folder for each teacher. In this folder, I just have the two documents that you'll be working on. The two documents that you have would be your data file, where you're inputting all of your data, and then your IRIP template. You're going to start with your data file, and then you're going to merge it with your IRIP template when you're finished. So I'm going to open that up. I'm going to walk you through that process, and hopefully you'll see kind of the ease as to how this gets completed. So once your document opens, which it's working on doing, I think. There we go. So once your document opens, you can see that there are two sheets. One says 1 IRIP, or it'll say K IRIP, or 2 IRIP, or 3 IRIP, and then it says goals and practices. You're going to primarily be using this, but this sheet, 1 IRIP, but your second sheet, goals and practices, is going to give you some lists that you can look at. I've already inputted some data on this sheet just so that you can we can use it to then make some IRIPs from, or make an IRIP from it. But I will kind of walk you through each thing. When you initially open this up, there'll be no data on it. You'll need to be putting that data in. So very basic information. One of the pieces that we've taken off this year's IRIP is the code, the UIC. It's something that the people who made the IRIP template that we are using took off the new document, so it's something that we left off the document as well. So you can see student name, self-explanatory, school. I want to show you something on this. Anytime you click on a box and there is a triangle to the right side, it means there's a drop-down list that you can choose from. It means your answer has to be one of those choices. So you can either type it or you can choose. Right now we only have 5 schools on the list. If your school's not on this list and you're using this method, it will be on this list. Then teacher, I just used the teacher's name who taught first grade at Akron Fairgrove last year. You can see grade also has a drop-down, but again you can just put the word or the number 1 in. Date of birth, pretty self-explanatory. Gender, whether or not they're English language learner. Starting with the meeting, these 3 columns have to do with the meeting that you're either determining the deficiency or the meeting that you're determining the deficiency and developing the IRIP. For some schools that was the same meeting. So that's whenever that meeting date is. Parent contact is how you informed the parent that the student will be receiving an IRIP. You can see again there's 4 choices. If you sent it with the child home, that would be considered mail. Team members present, just like last year, the team that's developing the IRIP should be more than just the classroom teacher. It should be a group of people, which could include the rest of your grade level team members, the ISD literacy coach, myself, the building level coach, the principal, etc. Any of your itinerants, those could be people that are on that team. Again, you're putting this in and you're entering this in, commas between, and again, you've got a list of people. One thing to show you, and I'm going to move my picture here, one thing to show you is you can take this information, if you want it to be the same for everyone, you can put your cursor in the right corner, drag down, and then you have it repeated for all of those. I'm going to undo that because I don't want that. But you can do that for you can do that for 2 squares too, or 2 columns too. So I left click, hold and drag, and now I'm going to drag down all of that. I want everyone to have Akron, Fairgrove, and Bernie as their teacher because they're all going to be for your IRIPs, they will all be the same. So going back, just an option. Let me move my picture back down here. You can see that then we start going into the data, and you can see that you are inputting only the measures that are assessed during that time of the year. So right now we're doing BOY, beginning of year. Your student should have a composite score. Your first grader will have a composite score, letter naming fluency score, phoneme segmentation fluency, correct letter sounds, whole words read. Again, come middle of the year, you will have different measures and more measures. And again, kindergarten will look different, second, third will look different as well. If your school does NWEA, you have a place to put the student writ score as well as the benchmark. And again, this can be something that, last time I did this, the number increased as well, but apparently this works for that. But again, you can drag down that number because everybody's benchmark at the beginning of the year will be the same. This is where you can put any extensive assessments, whether you do BAS or DRA or DIPLS Deep or Words Their Way or any measure of MLPP or the DRA word analysis tasks or the BAS optional literacy assessments. Whatever it is that you do, these 6 boxes are the place you put this. So BAS, we text leveled the student. Again, this is an example. I put my own name as the example, but you put the measure, you put the student's score, what the goal was for the beginning of the year. I put NA because I didn't have a second assessment measure, but let's say that you wanted to put the BAS optional literacy assessments. You then might put really specifically in there, rhyming, their score was 4. If you press Alt and Enter, you can go down to a new line. Let's say you did blending and their score was 10, etc. When you go over to the next box, you can again, rhyming, the benchmark was 10, and the benchmark for blending was 10. It will not look like this when you make your actual IRIP, but at least you can basically put it how you want to. You can also increase the size of your columns so you can see it better. This was just kind of the generic width that I used. In the next box, you have instructional focus. The drop-down arrow limits that to the 5 big ideas. And again, you can't choose more. I said again, but you cannot choose more than one on this particular document. You could go in and add an extra document, or you could also choose an instructional goal that fit with something else. For example, in this one, I chose a phonics goal as well as a fluency goal because those were 2 areas that I noticed. You might also change it to a phonological awareness goal. Let me move my picture again. You might choose a phonological awareness goal or even a print concepts goal. You can see that there's a drop-down arrow for instructional goals as well. You have a list of grade level appropriate as well as grade levels below goals that should connect with the things you're seeing in your assessments and the goals you have for your students. These are based off of the Michigan ELA Common Core Standards, and you have all 5 areas: phonological awareness, phonics, you also have print concepts, fluency, vocabulary, and comprehension. Because you can't read this whole list, one option that you have is to go to goals and practices. And if you look, you can see a list of those instructional goals written out for you so that you can see the entire goal. When we look at instructional practices for differentiation, you will not be able to see the whole instructional practice, but again, you can look at this list. If you are savvy enough, you can do some text wrapping and changing of settings, but if you want to look at that list more closely, you can look at the goals and practices sheet. So basically, I've chosen 2 instructional goals, obviously different. And then I choose, goodness, that's handy. Okay, and then you're choosing differentiated instructional practices for your Tier 1 instruction. That is either what you're doing in your whole group instruction, what you're doing in your small group instruction. Those are all the pieces that you are using in your Tier 1 instruction. Remember that Tier 1 instruction is your whole group instruction and your small group instruction, not you're using Tier 1 instruction to differentiate your instruction for the needs of your students. So you can see within this you've got strategies that link up to the K-3 essential practices, using explicit instruction for phonological clearness, for phonics, using Alkanen boxes to push and move the sounds, doing any sorts, multisensory channels, so kind of linking with Orton-Gillingham. Maybe you're observing the reading and writing and informing instruction that way. Applying letter-sound relationships in writing, so maybe some interactive writing, coaching and prompting. I will not read through the whole list, but you've got the general idea of what strategies you're using. This dark column, anytime you come to that, that means that's the end of the data you need to input for that marking period or for that benchmark. So we'll stop there. We'll come back to this and talk more about it in the second video. Once you finish inputting your data, you just save. So the box in the corner, you don't have to go to Save As. Once you save it, you will then be able to use it for your IRIP completion. So I'm going to X out of this. You don't need to keep it. You actually can't keep it open when you go to your template, but then you're going to open your template. This is your IRIP template, and this will be where your data is merged from your Excel file to this document. The thing that will happen to all of you when this happens, it will say something along this line. Data from your database will be placed in this document. Do you want to continue? Yes. Yes, you do. What pops up will be the template. You'll see some things that look pretty generic. This will not be the student IRIP. You will have to do some things to it to make your student IRIP. And again, apparently my computer is... There we go. So you can see there's some generic information in each one. Please don't delete any of this. Please don't do anything to this one. This is just the template. You need to click on Mailings, and then you will need to click Finish and Merge. There are 3 options in Finish and Merge. You need to choose Edit Individual Documents because there are some things you need to change and adjust. Once you click that, you click OK. You want all. Once you click OK, you're going to see that it's then created IRIPs for your data. It actually, because I can't delete rows off of it and make it just a certain length, it's created a ton of blank IRIPs too. You can see there's a blank IRIP. You're going to focus only on the ones that have your information in it, so the first 3 pages are relevant to what we did. You can see that I inputted name, all of the identifying information, first meeting date, how the parent was contacted, or guardian was contacted. You can see the data was inputted as well as the benchmark in a pretty easy to read table. One thing that has been happening is it will extend the NWA score. You can go in and change that. So there's always things that you can go in and change. It doesn't mess up your data from your sheet. You can see the extensive assessment information was embedded quite neatly and nicely. And here's the parts where you need to start kind of stepping in to do more things to the IRIP. If there are other factors that may affect performance, for example, maybe the student is absent quite a lot, you would just click with your left mouse, or your left click, the box, and we'll put a tally in it. Maybe there's also some behavior issues. You might click social, emotional. If the student has a reading IEP, you can click those as well. Again, you can't, there's no limit to the amount that you're clicking. The last piece that you will need to be doing is summarizing the strengths, areas of need, and parent-guardian concerns. We talked a little bit about this last year, but this is where you generalize the strengths from the assessments, generalize the areas of need, and any concerns you're getting from the parents. I'm going to scroll down really quickly to the last 2 pages, and you can see that your instructional goals as well as your instructional strategies were embedded into this IRIP. Basically what you're doing then is you're saving it, changing it to beginning of the year IRIPs with your name and under the correct folder that you want. and then you